Those of you who were here last time will remember that I punctuated with lots of questions to the audience. So the question to you is, do we think 5G will be the same? It'll simply be preservation of the existing market structure, number of players and so on. Or do we think actually there's something in there that's going to be transformational? Hands up for it's just going to be the same as it was in the past. So that looks like about 10% of you. And hands up for it's all going to change. Yeah, that looks like about 90%.
So people will value what they use, what they do. And it's their willingness to pay for that, what they use and what they do, which is ultimately going to drive the business case.
You know, what I sense the people who pay for all this stuff think, namely the investor community, they would be fairly sceptical about the notion that the arrival of 5G will magically and positively transform business models.
And I think history tells us that the ecosystem develops through innovation outside, external to the telecoms industry. I don't think telecoms companies are particularly good at managing complex value chains external to the history of partnering is not, should we say, spectacular.
Huge amounts of private investment have brought great things in this sector. Nevertheless, there are areas where the market hasn't reached. We don't yet have full ubiquitous coverage, but certainly the terms of reference for the NIC work is what to do as the government in terms of making sure we're in a leading position.
So who thinks we should aim to be a 5G leader of some description? Okay, that's probably 80%. And who thinks that's just an aspiration too far? Yeah, probably about 15 to 20%.
3G, I guess, if you did the maths, I suspect never made the industry any money. Interestingly, I think 4G was quite different, and I suspect if you run the maths on 4G, people are making money.
What do people think about the likelihood of autonomous vehicles, or perhaps more widely the transport community, delivering some kind of extra revenue stream that can be used to capitalise 5G?
So it's not a technology challenge. We know how to get signals into tunnels. We know how to get signals from the outside of railway carriages to the inside of railway carriages. The challenge is how you make it happen in practice.
I don't disagree with you, but I think that in the same way that train operating companies will obviously rely or will rely as well on emergency situations, etc., will need to have some sort of massive capacity potentially and priority over the passengers in the train carriage who might be working on stuff and really early.
Yeah. Don't get locked into 5G business models. The need is there today.
So, 5G is going to happen. This technology is going to get built. Vendors and others have invested heavily in the R&D, and it is coming. It's just a matter of when.
Nobody can think about whether the automotive people might actually get together and build a single network for supporting vehicles.
Yeah.
There'll be bits of 5G initially that look pretty horrible, but you might have to go through them in order to get to the good bits later. It may be naive to think that we can just go straight to the good bits.
Thinking back over both this debate and the previous debate, we started off trying to make sense of what 5G was, and it seems to me that we have found flaws in everything that people have put forward that 5G might be. We're all looking at each other thinking something's going to give here, but we're not quite sure where it's going to give. I think we need some more debates. But I think before that, we need some wine. Thank you very much to the panellists for taking part in the debate.
It was great to hear all of the panellists thinking about all of their thoughts about how the business model for 5G would work, and also the votes from the audience on where the opportunities lie.
So I'm at the top of the BT Tower. I've just been to the 5G debate organised by Cambridge Wireless. A wide range of industry players and other experts coming along to talk about the business case for 5G, try to understand what it is. I don't think I know the answer now, but I have a much clearer sense of what questions I should be asking, so that's progress.
I'm glad I came to this 5G debate. It's been very interesting, looking at business cases for the future of 5G. It's very hard to draw a consensus from where the future business case for 5G lies. The audience was split as to how it might move forward, and it's quite clear that in order to generate the increased returns that will be needed to justify the investment in 5G, there's still quite a lot of innovation that's going to be required.
Tonight's event demonstrated the relevance of 5G and 5G technologies to the audience from all walks of the telecommunications industry. While there remain many questions regarding the nature of 5G, it is clear there is much more innovation to come. Huawei has a strong role to play in the future innovations for 5G technologies.
So when Cambridge Wireless, or CW as we call ourselves, was asked by the NIC to put on these two debates, I was delighted and I leapt at the chance, because CW is really about looking at the underlying issues behind the world of connectivity, and 5G is such a huge issue for the industry at the moment. And I think that really that ethos behind CW has been realised in these two debates.